Good morning, Little Masters, and welcome to today's Tolkien Times. I'm the Man of the West, also from the Prancing Pony podcast. Welcome back to our break from the usual Fandom Fridays as we enjoy First Age Fridays. I love Fandom Fridays, though, and I'm thinking that we're going to go back to those in Series 6 after this next 2-week break. No promises, though, as I've really become enamored with our readings through the Lay of Leithian. Now, last week, we continued our reading in Canto 4 as a little worse for wear Beren came stumbling out of the woods, as Daeron ran and Luthien hid herself. Today we'll conclude Canto 4 with Beren calling out to Nuviel, and doom falling upon Luthien. Now all his journey's lonely fare, the hunger and the haggard care, the awful mountains' stones he stained with blood of weary feet, and gained only a land of ghosts and fear and dark ravines imprisoned sheer. There mighty spiders wove their webs, old creatures foul with bird-like nebs that span their traps in dizzy air and filled it with clinging black despair. And there they lived, and the sucked bones lay white beneath on the dank stones. Now all these horrors like a cloud faded from mind. The waters loud falling from pine-clad heights no more he heard. Those waters gray and frore that bittersweet he drank and filled his mind with madness. All was stilled. He recked not now the burning road, the paths demented where he strode endlessly, and ever new horizons stretched before his view, as each blue ridge with bleeding feet was climbed, and down he went to meet battle with creatures old and strong, and monsters in the dark, and long, long watches in the haunted night, while evil shapes with baleful light and clustered eyes did crawl and snuff beneath his tree. Not half enough, the price he deemed, to come at last to that pale moon when day had passed, to those clear stars of Elveness, and that brief vision of loveliness. From outside, far Beleriand, thus one alone came to that land, and passed the spells that Melian laid in wood and glen, on grove and glade, driven by doom, as was foretold by Melian in days of old. A summer waned, an autumn glowed, and Beren in the woods abode, as wild and wary as a fawn that sudden wakes at rustling dawn, and flits from shade to shade, and flees the brightness of the sun, yet sees all stealthy movements in the wood. The murmurous warmth in weather's good, the hum of many wings, the call of many a bird, the pattering fall of sudden rain upon the trees, the windy tide in leafy seas, the creaking of the boughs he heard, but not the song of sweetest bird brought joy or comfort to his heart. A wanderer dumb who dwelt apart, who sought unceasing, near in vain, to hear and see those things again. A song more fair than nightingale, a wonder in the moonlight pale. Yet, fleeting, only a glimpse he sees, as fluttered leaves 'neath golden trees. An autumn waned, a winter laid the withered leaves in grove and glade. The beeches bare were gaunt and gray, and red their leaves beneath them lay. From cavern pale the moist moon eyes the white mists that from earth arise to hide the morrow's sun and drip all the gray day from each twig's tip. By dawn and dusk he seeks her still, by noon and night in valleys chill, nor hears a sound but the slow beat on sodden leaves of his own feet. The wind of winter winds his horn, the misty veil is rent and torn. The wind dies, the starry choirs leap in the silent sky to fires whose light comes bitter cold and sheer through domes of frozen crystal clear. A sparkle through the darkling trees, a piercing glint of light he sees, and there she dances all alone upon a treeless knoll of stone. Her mantle blue with jewels white caught all the rays of frosted light. She shone with cold and wintry flame as dancing down the hill she came, and past his watchful silent gaze a glimmer as of stars ablaze. And snowdrops sprang beneath her feet, and one bird, sudden, late and sweet, shrilled as she wayward passed along. A frozen brook to bubbling song awoke and laughed, but Beren stood still bound, enchanted in the wood. Her starlight faded, and the night closed o'er the snowdrops glimmering white. Thereafter, on a hillock green, he saw far off the elven sheen of shining limb and jewel bright, often and oft on moonlit night. And Dairon's pipe awoke once more, and soft she sang as once before. Then nigh he stole beneath the trees, and heartache mingled with heart's ease. A night there was when winter died. Then all alone she sang and cried, and danced until the dawn of spring, and chanted some wild magic thing that stirred him, till at last it broke the bonds that held him, and he woke from dreaming deep in cold despair. He strayed out into the night air, and the hillock green he stepped upon, but the elven sheen was sudden gone. The hill abandoned, she had fled away, but now his feet were sped, and as she went, he swiftly came, and called her with the tender name of nightingales in elven tongue, that all the woods now sudden rung, Tinuviel, Tinuviel, and clear his voice rung as a bell. Its echoes wove a binding spell, Tinuviel, Tinuviel. His voice such love and longing filled. One moment stood she, fear was stilled. One moment, without fear or shame, one moment only. Beren came, and as she stood there shimmering, her grey eyes danced a glimmering. In Doriath, bound in a spell, then doom fell on Tinuviel, and Beren caught that elven maid, fair Leithian, whom love delayed. In Elvendell that maiden fair about him cast her shadowy hair, and under morrowless moonlit skies he kissed her trembling starlit eyes. An hour charmed their soft a kiss she placed upon his muted lips. Ah, Leithian, more fair than any child of men, O loveliest maid of Elveness, what madness doth thee now possess? Ah, lissom limbs and shadowy hair, and chaplet of white snowdrops there, O starry diadem and bright soft hands beneath the pale moonlight. She left his arms and slipped away just at the breaking of the day. It was already a long reading, so I'm not going to add much in the way of commentary. What I will say is how deeply disturbing that first set of lines is. The journey of Beren through what we would know later as the Ered Gorgoroth, the Mountains of Terror, and Nandungortheb, the Valley of Dreadful Death. It reads like Beren is experiencing a Lovecraftian horror, attacking his very sanity, right? The waters filled his mind with madness, and we read about the paths demented and so on. It is terrifying, genuinely terrifying, and honestly, it's another reminder that Tolkien really knew how to write horror. And then I love this passage of time that we get. A summer waned, an autumn glowed. Then we get an autumn waned, a winter laid the withered leaves, followed by the wind of winter winds his horn. And then a night there was when winter died. Then all alone she sang and cried and danced until the dawn of spring. He was enchanted for months, the better part of a year, falling deeply in love with the fairest of all the children of Iluvatar. And yet, Canto 4 ends with Luthien slipping away just at the breaking of the day. And that's where we have to leave off for now as well. That is it for today's First Stage Friday and for our readings to the Lay of Leithian in this series. But I promise you, we will revisit this soon, hopefully as early as Series 7. Now, my plan is to get back to Fandom Fridays next series in Series 6. So if you would like to join me on the show, or you know somebody who does, please email barlaman@theprancingponypodcast.com and let us know. Please visit patreon.com/TolkienTimes to learn how you can support the show, get an ad-free RSS feed, a monthly hangout, bonus episode, and more. And then join me again tomorrow on today's Tolkien Times as we wrap up this week in Series 6 with Second Age Saturday. If you're watching this on YouTube, you know the drill by now. Please like and subscribe. Follow or subscribe in your podcast apps, and follow @Tolkien Times on social media. Finally, as Faramir says, go with the goodwill of all good men.